like just as a change of pace, like Glenn figured out his lane. Like he's not uptight.
Yeah.
He doesn't take himself that seriously. And, all these shows are a little different between like Legacy, Med, and Sailing Yacht. And that's the best lane for Sailing Yacht to be in. It's the latest show in the best way.
Yeah. And I think it's a good combination of having like the strongest crew, or at least the strongest like leaders, and then having like the most laissez-faire captain. So Sean, let's get into so we're dropping the guests off. We've got the docking here. Tom mentions, he's like, listen, I feel like I'm not giving the right direction. Like, I feel like I'm being set up to fail. Like, is Gary not giving him the tools he needs to succeed?
So it's interesting because like Tom thinks it's the worst docking ever. I know, like, I think he put up the fenders too early without like spraying off the side of the boat because of all the salt on it. And he can't work the hose, and he complains like all the sling in this boat's different than it is in Northern England, which I'm sure is a real thing. Like when you start a new job, like every job has their own like vocabulary, and you have to kind of like keep up with that. But essentially, like Tom thought it was the worst docking ever, and Gary's like, no, that went great. So, I mean, ultimately, Tom's like the junior deckhand. I don't think he's that essential to the docking.
Yep.
I think maybe I don't know. Is he just his worst critic?
I think so. Plus,
Gary would tell him if he did a bad job.
Yeah, I feel like when you're unsure about things, you start to like look at every small thing is like a big deal. When Gary's probably just like, yeah, man, we crashed the boat last year.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
Yeah, and I think maybe just getting the one criticism from Gary maybe kind of hurt his mood a little bit.
Yeah.
And some people just don't like any criticism ever. I kind of get it. I don't know.
No.
But no, apparently it went well.
Yeah.
Oh, Jen. Sorry. Another thing that morning, there's Gary and Ashley, and like Gary's grabbing coffee, and he just goes to Ashley, "You don't drink coffee?" And she's like, "No, I'm ready for tequila." There's something about when people wake up and are really excited for the night out that just gets me so hyped.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it.
Yeah. So it's almost like Ashley's just skipping over all the work she has to do today. And she's like, I'm ready to party.
I don't see how you're working with these boats and don't drink coffee, or at least tea or something. I just feel like the hours and the sleep are so off.
Yeah, man. Like if I slept like 4 hours the night before, and I had like 3 coffees yesterday, which like that's a lot. So let's get into so obviously we say goodbye to our charter guests here. They have a lot of great things to say, just about everybody, especially Marcos. And that shows up in the tip meeting as well. So Glenn's like, hey guys, we had a good meeting, or we had a good first charter. Gary mentions like the camera. He's like, yeah, I hate doing the dishes, but if it keeps Daisy off my back, he'll do it. Like, I think he likes her more than he's, leading on, but
100%. John, so it was 17,300. Now, Captain Lee would have hated that tip, but I guess we should know, I think Captain Lee is a much bigger crew. I know on camera, he has one more person, and then I think off camera, Captain Lee is like a few other people too, which I don't think Glenn has.
But it's not only that. So it's also like a percentage of like how much they pay for the boat, like in general. And I feel like with Sailing Yacht, it's just a smaller boat, so it's a smaller fee. And so like, if you're trying to get that like 20% threshold or whatever it is, like it's not going to happen. You're not going to get to the 25 or I know everyone in Legacy last year was like, oh, we need 30. It's like, all right, do you need 30? Like you're working for like 72 hours. Do you need 30 grand tip?
I'm wondering, man. I don't think Sailing Yacht's that expensive. It's not unheard of if things go well for us in 10 years that we're on a Sailing Yacht charter.
Yeah.
I'll look into it more, maybe. But hey, everyone, like if you see us in 10 years on that show, don't be shocked if things start going very well.
Yeah, we'll get to see. Gary will only be 43 by then, apparently. So
it's insane. I was way off in his age.
Yeah. But Either way, like it's a good first charter. And so Sean, let's get into it. Let's get into getting off to dinner.
Mm.
Um, there was this one interesting part where Gary and Daisy, obviously they're on good terms right now. And they hug and Daisy says, "Do you see the difference?" Like talking about like how they work together. And Gary does this real guy move where he's just like, "Oh, about you? Absolutely." Like insinuating that like Daisy like changed her hair or this or that. And she's just like, "No, like, 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 no, I meant like us working together. Like, it's the perfect move." Like Gary seems like a guy who just throws out every once in a while something like, "Hey, did you do something today? You look great."
Dude, I think we mentioned this. We definitely mentioned this last year. We may have actually mentioned it to Daisy, but there's lots of chemistry there.
Yeah.
And I think the camera cuts to Ashley just staring daggers at them when they're hugging.
That's
But
an all-time cut, by the way.
that, oh yeah, they do a great job. But they no, they look good together.
Yep.
I'm kind of excited for that to develop throughout the
Yep.
season.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can sense it a little bit though.
Yeah. Well, I can't, obviously I can't wait to see what happens between them. Like we know a little bit. I think they said on like social, like technically they're not together, but they're friends. Whatever, it's good stuff.
Hmm.
But Sean, let's get to dinner. Things got a little intense. So, Gabriella mentioned like, "Hey, uh, she's like, I'm real. I don't like small talk, this and that." And then you got like Ashley on the other side being like, saying to Colin, like, "Oh, I don't think she's a good second stew. I think in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be a real second stew." Like things are not going to go well between these two, are they?
I can't wait. Yeah, I think Debbie says she has trouble on yachts because she likes to weed people out. I mean,
Yeah.
you're kind of the trouble then, right?
Yeah.
But and because they're describing what their biggest problems are, their biggest flaws.
Yep.
And Ashley says her biggest like problem is she knows when she's being disrespected. So yeah, there we go. Gabby versus Ashley is gonna be a lot of fun. And Ashley just does not respect that second stew title. So
But here's the one thing. Ashley wants to be second stew, and yet she's like, "Oh, second stew doesn't mean anything." So what are you going after?
I can't wait. I guess we had a little bit of this, the most recent med between Courtney and Lexi, but this seems a lot more palpable as far as like the third stew really trying to jump, like hop over Gabby. I can't wait.
Yeah, and there's just like a lot of foreshadowing there with Ashley. She's like, "There's going to be trouble." So I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like this girl came onto the boat ready to fight. But Sean, we get back. We're back in the cab, and I just had a question for you. Did Daisy say she hasn't had sex in 3 years?
Yeah. So, and this was filmed in 2021. So we're talking 2018.
Yeah.
I mean, she's our friend. I don't want to pry too much. Stuff with Gary might start happening.
Yeah, who knows?
I can't wait if that's the case. But that was their cab rides are so much fun. And with like Daisy goes, "Unless one of you are gonna," I can't. I forget what exactly
she said. She was like, "Unless one of you are gonna come up here right now, you should shut that song off or something," because they were singing about her. But I mean,
and Tom goes to the cab.
Pull the cab over.
She's great.
Yeah. So Sean, obviously we get back and we're going into the hot tub, right? So best time of the episodes. Ashley says to the camera, she goes, "I don't want to cause any trouble, but I know how good I look." That is like the most villainous thing I've ever heard on Below Deck.
Yeah, she's kind of like the I don't know how much crossover there is. Probably a decent amount. She's kind of like the Sydney Sweeney of Below Deck. She's on Euphoria. I don't know. That shows all the rage now. But yeah, it's also she said if it were up to me, I'd be spending tonight in a guest cabin with Gary. So she really is into Gary.
Yeah, she says. she goes, "Oh, Gary, I have a problem. I have a problem with an H that ends with a Y." Gary doesn't get it, or maybe he's just playing coy. And then he's like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah." Like he's just like he doesn't want to make the same freaking mistake as like last time. And he even said to Colin like earlier in the episode, he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna give it 2 weeks before I hook, basically like 2 weeks before I do anything." Colin's like, "Yeah, man, you're looking at like 2 days, not 2 weeks." So
You got to give him credit.
Yeah.
For kind of finishing her off. I think he's in a Daisy. And maybe that's why. That's what part of me is thinking that.
That's what you hope, Sean.
If he hooks up with Ashley, like if he did it tonight, that would have ruined everything with him and Daisy. That's my little theory. No one's spoken about it yet, but yeah, I mean, he licks Daisy's foot in the hot tub.
It's a toe jam, man.
And when Daisy goes, "You're being a little bitch with me right now. You're doing everything I say." I think he was like this last year, where Cindy was like all about him all the time. He could have hooked up with her every night, and he was more into Allie, who was like a little mean to him.
Yeah.
I think he likes the chase. I think he also likes someone that's a little bit more combative with him. I'm trying to get into that guy's head.
I don't know if Gary wants what he can't have, but he doesn't want what he can have, it sounds like.
Yes, that's it. But why is Ashley so into him?
Dude, I have no idea. Like either she watched season 2 and like really just like fell in love with him, or like has a bet going. Dude, I don't know.
For someone who's like on the surface that confident, like she's kind of like, I don't know, like she's a little desperate around Gary. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, like she's 23. I don't know. He's in his he apparently is in his early 30s still, but maybe that's that whole dynamic. But
yeah, there's an interesting thing. Like, and I kind of wonder. Like, I get that like some women date older men because they want the person they're dating to be more mature, right?
Yeah.
But is there like, I almost feel like in Ashley's, I don't know her that well, obviously, but like in her case, it almost seems like, does she want to date older men because like she wants to act immature and can use that as like a crutch?
Maybe.
Oh. Like she doesn't really seem that mature. She just kind of seems mean.
But I guess we'll get to that with her and Tom.
Yeah. Let's get into it. She basically says to Tom, "Oh, after like a couple beers, some older women might hit on you," right?
They're not that much older. Yeah, because they're talking about all the other girls on the boat. Like, how much older is Kelsey than Tom?
I don't know. I think
Daisy and Gabby are I think like at least like 7 years older.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Maybe 10, yeah.
Yeah, but Kelsey, if you saw Kelsey and Tom together, not that there's any chemistry, you wouldn't be like, that's weird.
No, they're both in their like mid-20s, early 20s.
That's a really mean thing to say, though. Like, hey, it's going to be a wash for you this season.
Yeah.
Maybe the girls will pay attention to you if you're drunk. And Tom just keeps going, we're the same age. Where he's like,
doesn't make sense.
This is crazy. Yeah, I mean, there is always that girl like freshman year of college that was only trying to date like the seniors. Yeah, this is a thing, and I get it. Guys in their early 20s are real dumb. Like that's are super immature, but
someone who was once in his early 20s, yeah.
Yeah, but oh man. Yeah, Ashley following Gary down to the bar to like, yeah, with the I'm horny thing.
No.
She's something. I hope Tom gets over it because Tom's into her, right? Like that's and I think she like likes the attention from him a little bit.
Oh, for sure she does.
Yeah, because she says like, "Oh, you're more my type. You're good looking, but you're also a baby." She loves like needling him. Yeah. It's Ashley's boat now.
Yeah, I just don't think like Ashley's gonna be great for the season, but I don't know how she's gonna like age. Like if she like a multi-season cast member, or is she just like too much, right?
She's gonna burn out too fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Like they weren't having Rocky on for 4 seasons. I think.
No. All right, Sean, you got any honorable mentions or anything else?